One of the hardest things about A/B testing is coming up with some good ideas that you can implement quickly. In this video, we're going to show you 14 rock-solid ideas that you can implement on your storefront. So that way you can skip the analysis paralysis and stop overthinking and start testing. Let's jump into the video. All right, so let's address the elephant in the room first. Why should you even be testing at all? Well, merchants that run continual tests can see up to 30% higher conversion rates, lower customer acquisition costs, faster learning, less redesign risk. These are all benefits from A/B testing. Data beats gut feels every time. Okay, so when you bring data to the table, often you can have better result. We all know this. That's why we're here. So let's dive into some of the ideas that you can use. First thing we're going to do is talk about product page experiments. So these ideas will be specifically for product pages. Urgency copy versus no urgency on your page. Often urgency sells. For example, only 3 left ships today versus no scarcity message at all. Scarcity messaging lifts add to cart clicks by up to 6% on average. Pairing scarcity with stock tracking, this is a good way that you're not faking urgency, which actually can hurt trust, okay? Don't fake it, but if you are low on certain items, you might as well put it out there because it's a great urgency tactic, something to test. And an example here for you, visually, you can see on the left, we have a banner that says only 3 left in stock, and on the right, we have nothing. So this is an easy way to give you an idea of how you can incorporate some urgency for your own product page. Consider a banner here. Lifestyle versus product-only imagery. Lifestyle images can work well for your products. For example, GrowthRock's A/B test on Discover More section showed that the product-only images outperform lifestyle, but lifestyle can also help depending if it's on mobile or desktop. Okay, so sometimes we see that mobile actually can do better with lifestyle photos. So this is something you want to test. You don't know what's going to work good for your brand, okay? Sometimes it can be product only, sometimes lifestyle. Something to test when you're thinking about product images. Consider lifestyle versus just a product focus. You never know what's going to work best for your brand, and you don't know what's going to work best for mobile versus desktop. This is something to layer in terms of segmentation. Here's an example. On the left, we've got lifestyle. On the right, we've got just straight up products. This is something you can test for yourself to see what works. Review social proof placements. When you generate reviews, you get tons of great proof. People like your products. That's great. Where do you show this on your product pages if you want it to lead to maximum impact and ultimately higher conversion rate? You might want to consider loading this at the top before the fold. So here's an example. Here we've got on the right, the product rating is below the fold. We can't see it on first view. On the left, it's front and center right below the title. This can be something to test depending on if your customers like to see more social proof before they check out, especially if you have a higher priced product where there's more consideration needed. This can help, okay? So consider adding that product rating above the fold. Everyone knows that product recommendations are important. However, where do you put them on your page? How do you display them? Product recommendations are very powerful, but you don't want to just throw it out there with no thought, okay? This is something you want to be testing. Test location under the add to cart. Maybe it's a mid-page carousel. Where should it live on your product pages? You're going to want to use session recordings or even customer data, any customer data you have, to see where it might make sense to add to your page. Product recommendations, super important. Billabong actually increased their conversion rate by 15.2% by adding recommended for you, and customers also bought widgets. Just adding these to your pages can lead to a big result, and knowing where to put them can help. So if they're not on your page, consider adding them and test their location. This is a very important test element for your products. Homepage experiments. Everything in this next section is going to be focused on the homepage. Above the fold CTAs. We talked about CTAs before. We'll talk about them again now. You want to test the call to action that's right above the fold as soon as the customer gets to the page. Now, on your homepage, it's slightly different. It's not just an add to cart. It can be other things. For example, it can be a product quiz. It can be a link to a collection page. Whatever it is, you want to test the CTA you're putting in the hero section on your homepage. Here we have on the left, it's a shop all. So this is just a simple link to collection. And on the right, we have to take your quiz. This is something that you should test. What's the call to action you want to have on your homepage that's going to lead to the most impact for your brand? So never forget the homepage CTA that's on the hero section. We talked about product recs. Now let's talk about featured collections. Often homepages will have featured collections. It's worth it to test how this shows up, whether it should show up as a grid view or carousel. You want to make sure you're testing mobile and desktop separately here. Carousels can underperform on mobile where swipe fatigue is higher. Keep that in mind when you test something like this. And here visually, we're showing you two different bestseller collections. One's carousel, one's grid. This is another great test for your homepage. Speaking of collections, let's now move on to the collection page experiments list. One of the big things with your collection pages is going to be the default sort order, the order in which the products appear on the page. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Bestsellers, sorting by price. You want to align with your shopper mindset going into their experience on that page. This requires you to know a lot about your customers. So if you don't know about your customers, you better start talking to them and figuring it out. So bestsellers can typically win, but again, it's best to test. Also, price sorting can work for potentially lower intent users or maybe bargain shoppers. Here's where you want to just be super careful and cautious and make sure you test. Don't just assume that price low to high is always going to be the best or bestsellers is always the best. You want to test this out. So test the default sort order on your collections. Here's a case study from Macy's. Obviously, they changed the order of their jackets and blazers collection, and it actually worked really well. They increased the conversion rate because customers were looking for certain items. They weren't seeing it in the collection. It's worth it to test your collection pages order of the products, okay? It's worth it to do it. If it can work for Macy's and testing it, it can work for you. So think about that when thinking about your collections. Also, consider a quick add to cart button. This is another idea. Testing direct add from the collection versus a click through to a product. This is especially useful for mobile. Reduces the friction for people to add the item to their cart, okay? So here's what you want to do. Test on mobile. One-click add can reduce friction for repeat buyers. However, keep in mind, it may confuse first-time shoppers who maybe need a little bit more hand-holding or details. Super important to test it. But again, a quick add to cart can help. And here, we're showing this visually. Variant A, we've got an add to cart directly from the collection. So from collection, boom, add it to cart right away. Variant B, from the collection, you click straight to the product page and you learn more. This is something to test. See what cart abandonment rates look like if you have add to cart. Test, see what the actual impact is on placed orders. So don't just look at how many items are added to the cart ultimately. You want to measure the impact all the way through to purchase, but this is a great thing to test. Thumbnail image, lifestyle thumbnail, product only. We've talked about this before. This can be a very useful thing for you to test. And again, here, relevant to collections as well as products pages. Try product focus versus lifestyle. See what works best for your brand. Now we're going to support page experiments. Live chat versus contact form. This is one where, hey, live chat, you get customers in the moment, and this can help to mitigate any problems before they become bigger problems. So test live chat versus a contact only. Here's a case study for you. Obviously, brand here, improve conversions by incorporating live chat, okay? So live chat your customers answers right away. You can automate live chats. There's things you can do with AI for live chat. So this is something to consider if you're not using it already on your contact page. You can also try adding what we call microcopy near the form. And this is stuff like giving customers assurance on how quickly they're going to get a response. And it builds trust. It also sets expectations. And it's something you can do to incorporate with that within your contact pages so that folks feel the confidence to say, hey, this brand stands behind their products. If I have a problem, I can get in touch with somebody. Maybe we should pull the trigger. Okay. This can help drive sales if folks trust that you're going to stand behind your products. Here, showing example variant A, where there's no subheadline. Variant B, we call microcopy. Got questions, we've got answers, reply within 1 hour, 7 days a week. Again, setting the stage, saying, hey, we're here, we support our products, we will answer quickly. This is not just going to go into an email inbox to never be looked at again. FAQ and help center content, you can test how you can place the call to actions. Again, frequently asked questions here, variant B, there's a link to a FAQ below the form. Depending on how you want to optimize your contact page, a lot of times customers can get questions answered themselves. Okay, so variant A, the FAQ is above form, variant B is below the form. Okay, so this is a thing you can test to see how you can mitigate support queries by helping customers get answers themselves by going through your support docs and FAQs. So test how you display this information. This can help reduce support queries. All right, now let's dive into landing pages and campaign experiences. And this is going to be it. We're going to finish with landing pages, personalized headlines. Who doesn't love a little personalization based on their location, interest, referral source, etc.? Winter-proof your skincare routine, skincare that's perfect for long NYC winters. Okay, these are two examples of, on variant B, somebody's from NYC. They know, especially from upstate New York, those winters can be very long in New York. And so variant B is showing there's a little personalization there, which can go a long way toward driving conversions and adding a little bit of a personal touch. So consider personalized headlines on your landing pages. Another idea for you is exit intent pop-up offers, test discounts, free shipping offers. These are some things that you can show. Here, we've got a 10% discount offer and we've got a free shipping offer. Test your offers, folks. See what offers resonate. Don't just throw an offer out there and think you're done. Test your offers. All right, everyone. That's all the ideas I have for today, but I want you to let me know in the comments below, what are some ideas that we didn't cover that you've thought of that everyone else should know about? So share them in the comments. If you are excited about one of these test ideas and are ready to implement in your store, let me know which one you like the best. I'd love to hear the feedback. Also in the description, I'm going to leave a link to Shogun's A/B testing app. It's a lightweight alternative to some of the more heavyweight and expensive apps out there, and were made specifically for Shopify merchants. So if you're selling on the Shopify platform, you'll be very familiar with how to use Shogun, which is natively integrated within Shopify's theme editor. So you'll be very familiar with how to use that. Check out in the description below. And as always, until next time, good luck and happy testing.